Hey, I have the best story to share, and I had to do it right now. A friend of mine just shared this with me. Oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. We were talking about testimonies, and now people say, oh, tell your story. And back in the day, it used to be testimony. If you had a testimony, if you'd been through some things in life, that was your testimony. And, people would share it. And so we'd been talking, that was what we were talking about. And she was just mentioning how how a chain of events happens. And she had started having a Bible study in her home, and some people were coming, and there was a neighbor that lived, a block away or across the street or on the next street. And she started coming, and I'm not sure how all of that took place. But this woman was coming, and we were talking about, people like baby Christians and what it means to walk like Christ. And so this woman started coming to the Bible study. And, she had just been, in one of these moments where she'd been through so much life, like some really awful things happened, went through a terrible divorce that really blindsided her, and had lost her son. And she just was in a very strange place and was saying, she really had lost her faith. And then realizing through talking, so the woman, just kind of, like, she knew the 10 Commandments kind of a thing, and not really ever connected with God. And so she came upon her son's Bible. Her son had a Bible, and I don't know how long, but leading up to before he passed away, he had a Bible, and he had been really getting into the Word and getting to know Christ. And so the lady found her son's Bible, and she started bringing it with her to the Bible study. And one evening they're in the Bible study, and they're helping her, it's a thing to learn. If you're not familiar, Old Testament, New Testament, all these books and chapters and verses and how to find things. And so, they're helping her find, a chapter and a verse that she's supposed to be on. And she came across she looked it up, but it was the wrong verse. But it was the exact right verse. This is so cool. So she looks up, she gets to the wrong verse, but God meant for her to look up that verse because her son had written in his Bible, and it was how he came to find Christ, to know Christ, to find his salvation through Christ. And he had underlined and he had highlighted, and I don't know what, particular scriptures they were. I could read some, but I'm rambling already. But he had underlined and he had highlighted, and then he had written, along in the sides when he found this, and he found Christ through this, and he found his relationship with Christ, and he found his salvation through these verses. And he wrote all about it, even in his own writing, what he came to know and understand from reading these passages. And I just had goosebumps because her son, even though he wasn't even here anymore, led this lady, led his mother to Christ, led her to the path of salvation through Christ, through what he had underlined and written in his Bible. And she looked up the wrong passage, and it ended up being the exact right passage because she got to hear the message of Christ from her son, who had already gone to be with the Lord. And God used her son, even though he wasn't among us anymore, to lead her to Christ. And I just thought, oh my God, what a story. And so many things to take away from the story that, I talk often about, God, if I will just listen to him and allow him to use me throughout the day, it's none of my business how he uses me or who he uses me to help or inspire or talk with, to give hope to share faith with. It's none of my business. I just need to be available for God to use me. And wow, what an example of, you know what, if we just stay focused and just stay close to God, how he will use us even when we're no longer here. And I just was, man, the goosebumps just hit, because what an incredible story of how, in just how God's miraculous, just mind-boggling ways. And what a beautiful, beautiful thing for this poor mother. I cannot imagine losing a child. I can't imagine it. I've not been through it. I can't imagine, unless you've been through it, how you could even come close to understanding that pain and emptiness and everything that goes with it. But I've talked too long. But for her son to show her Christ and to show her what he found, and for her to have that closeness and that moment with and through her son, how beautiful, how amazing, how miraculous, how good our God is. Even when things are tragic and we can't understand them, God will allow us to see and to bring and to feel and to experience his goodness and his miraculous ways, even in those kind of moments. Amen, sister. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. I am going to just remind myself, I'm sure forever to come, of that story and how amazing and how wonderful and how good our God is. Okay. Mwah. Amen, sister.